Hi, this is Shannon. This is Cycle 2, Week 7, Tutor and Memory Work Ideas. I hope you are doing really well and enjoying the fall, getting closer to winter time. And I'm just really excited to share with you these ideas that you can use as a tutor or at home or both. Oftentimes I will use some of these same ideas at home with my kids during the week too. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little kids, 6, 4, and 2. And we do classical homeschooling and love it. And I get to tutor the obesitarians, so that's the young ones, the 4 through 6-year-olds. So these ideas are with them in mind, but you can definitely use the same ideas or adjust them a little bit for older kids. And make sure you stick around to the end of my video because I have some more free games that you can play at home with your kids this week to help them practice the science and Latin memory work specifically. And also, I'll talk again about a pronouns game I made that you can play with your kids because we cover pronouns from, as you know, week 4 through week 13. So we're right in the middle of that. Before we get into the tutor ideas, I want to show you a few resources you can use at home with your kids. So first, if you haven't seen this Cycle 2 Memory Work Activity Book is a great resource to use at home with your kids. There is a simple, fun activity for every subject, all 24 weeks. So just a really good way to review the memory work at home. My daughter did the geography activity. We're on week 6 at home this week. So she did that today. And then the next day, we will do the history activity, science activity, and then there's a page with math, English, and Latin as well. I also have this geography passport that's been really fun to use with my kids. So whenever they learn the geography, they get to stamp their passport. You can either cut out the stamps or I printed mine on sticky labels that I have instructions for how to do that if you get the passport, and it's been really fun and just a great way to kind of quiz them and see if they know the geography. Also, you can see behind me my big felt Europe map. We have been having fun with that, diving deeper into Europe during Cycle 2 because Cycle 2 focuses heavily on Europe and geography. And I also have this European countries workbook that we've been going through. So today my daughter worked on Hungary. So whenever we learn about geography, we dive deeper into a couple of the countries and just learn more about them using our activity book. Also, these pronoun memory cards have been really fun to use. My daughter and I have been playing memory with them, and I just choose the sets of pronouns that we've learned about so far. We spread them out on a table or the floor, and then we play memory with them. And it's just a good way to review what they are and how to use them in a sentence. Each card has the pronoun used in a sentence with a little image and what type of pronoun it is. And I also have a set of cards that have a blank, and you can match that with the pronoun that would go in the blank. So you can play either way. Then I wanted to show you, as we are getting closer to Christmas time, I have this Memory Work Wonderland review game that's like Candyland style. Really fun way to review the memory work with your kids. It works for any of the cycles, so you can get it, use it every year, but just a fun, festive way to review as you get closer to the end of the semester. The last thing I'll show you are these history and science placemats. I now have weeks 7 through 12 done. So I have weeks 1 through 12 done now in sets of 2, the first quarter and the second quarter. And they've just been a fun way to dive deeper into the history and science each week with my kids. This week is about the Reformation. We have a timeline and images and map, and then pollution on the back. I just put them out at the beginning of the day, and it gives us a chance to look at them during lunch or dinner, breakfast, and just talk more about those science and history topics. All right, so now for the tutor ideas. I'm going to start with geography like I normally do. So I have my Trivium table map, and we are learning about the peninsulas. I have outlined the Iberian Peninsula, the Scandinavian Peninsula, the Apennine, and the Balkan Peninsula in different color dry erase markers. And then I have these little sharp keychains that I got from somewhere, I think probably the dollar spot in Target. I've also shown these before, these little fish figurines. I'll link both of them in my blog post that I'll link in the description. Or you can use goldfish, something like that would be fun to help the kids point to each peninsula. So first I will go over the peninsulas with them, and we'll talk about what countries are in each one. So the Iberian Peninsula, what two countries do we see in there? Spain and Portugal. And then let's go to the Scandinavian Peninsula. Anybody know what countries those are? And see if anybody knows. Then what's this country? That's the Apennine Peninsula. And what countries do we see in the Balkan Peninsula? There's actually quite a few countries in the Balkan Peninsula, but you can focus on Greece and maybe some of the ones above that if the kids know. So just a fun way to review some of those countries, especially, they probably know Spain and Portugal. So you can at least talk about those. I'm also going to teach them a song to the tune The Muffin Man, and it goes like this. European peninsulas, Iberian, Balkan, Scandinavian, and Apennine. European peninsulas, Iberian, Balkan, Scandinavian, and Apennine. So, and they can use their little keychain or their fish to point to them as you sing. Another idea is you could give them a dry erase marker and have them write the first letter of each peninsula in there, and then you could have them erase each one as you review them. I like to ask them this time, okay, so what was the peninsula called that has Spain in it? Anybody remember what that one's called? Iberian, that's right. What's the peninsula that's Italy? Apennine, that's right. I really try to make the connection between the countries and peninsula. Also, obviously, talk about what is a peninsula. Say, let's look, why are these pieces of land called a peninsula, do you think? They shoot out into the water and they're almost completely surrounded by water, aren't they? That's interesting. So that's a peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land that is almost completely surrounded by water, but not completely, because what would that be called? An island. This book is great. I have this at home, Geography from A to Z. It's just a great resource. So I will bring this in and show them, hey, anybody know what this state is? Florida. Florida's a peninsula. And read them the definition again. It's a large piece of land that juts far out into the water and is almost completely surrounded by water. So this is a great resource to have. I like having it as a resource just to show my kids as we learn a new geography term. For English this week, we are continuing with our pronouns, and we are singing a pronoun song to the tune Here We Go Looby Loo, and we are doing some fun hand motions to it. So this week we're going to change up the hand motions just a little bit. I do have a video of the whole song with the hand motions and also the whole song just without the hand motions too, if you prefer that. So what I will do is introduce this week's pronouns, which are the possessive pronoun adjectives. And so we've got my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. So I will show the kids those, and then I will teach the kids just the song part with this week's pronouns. And then we'll start at the beginning of the song and sing the whole song through this week. So for this week, we changed the tune a little bit, and it goes like this. Possessive pronoun, adjectives, my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. And when we do that, you can shake your right leg for the first few pronouns and shake your left leg. Again, you can watch that in my pronoun video if you want to see. But basically, as I'm singing it, I shake my right leg a little bit and my left leg a little bit. So then after we sing that, we'll go back to the beginning and I'll talk about, okay, first we did nominative pronouns, and then we did objective, and then we did possessive, and then we're going to continue with this week's possessive pronoun adjectives. So the whole song sounds like this. Nominative pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Nominative pronouns, objective pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Objective pronouns, possessive pronouns, mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, yours, theirs. Possessive pronouns, possessive pronoun, adjectives, my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. And I'll stop. So basically what we'll do is next week we'll go back to this motion for the set of pronouns, and then the next week we'll shake our left hand, shake our right hand. So those are the same motions that they do to the song Here We Go Looby Loo. It just kind of goes along with the song. So you can take them or leave them, but that is English. And also, like I said, check out these pronoun memory cards that I made. These would be a really fun resource at home that you can use to just help your kids learn these pronouns. For timeline this week, I have my timeline cards again with the letters I get from the dollar store. I get these timeline cards from the Classical Conversations bookstore, but I like to get these letters from the dollar store and just put the first letter of each event on each card. Since I tutor the obesitarians, it just helps those of them that can't read yet. So what I will do for this week is I will hide these cards around the room before our community time even starts. When we get to timeline, I'll tell the kids to go around the room and find one card and bring it back to their seat. I'm not going to say anything to them about something I've done on the back of some of the cards. So then what I will do is we'll go over the cards in order, and I'll say, okay, the first one is the best one, Jesus the Messiah. Who has that one? What does Jesus start with? Jay, can you put that one up on the wall? And I'll have 7 pieces of painter's tape up on the wall. So if Tommy found this one, he gets to put that one up on the wall. Then we will continue until all the cards are up on the wall. Once they're up on the wall, I will tell the kids that we're going to play a little game called the bomb game. What that means is on the back of 3 of the cards, I drew a little dot. And if we touch one of the cards that has a dot on it, then the bomb goes off and we have to take shelter. So how I'll do this is I will let the kids take turns going up to the wall and just picking one card to gently touch. And so say the first kid picks this one. I will look behind it. I'll take it off the tape from the wall and look behind it. Oh, we're safe. There's no bomb. Okay, you're okay. So that kid can go sit back down. Then the next kid will come, and I put dots on 3 of the cards. So the next kid will come and say they pick this card. We'll look on the back of it. Oh no, it's a bomb! And then I'll tell everybody to get down to the floor, take shelter. And you know, the more you can exaggerate this, the more fun they have. So you can keep doing that until all 3 bombs are found. If they're found pretty quickly and not all the kids have had a chance to play, you could, just like tell all the kids to close their eyes and change a few of the dots and let the kids who haven't gone yet have a try. Also, what I would do is each time they come up and pick a card, so say the kid who picked this one, then you have everybody do the hand motion for this card. And we'll have already gone over the hand motions in our community time, but you can review it with them, obviously. So Diocletian divides the Roman Empire. You would make a D, and then divides the Roman Empire. So you can all do that together before you turn the card over and see if it's a bomb or not. That way they're getting some practice with the hand motions. Then once all the bombs are found, you can have all the kids stand up and go over the hand motions with them again, and then just have them sing this week's part of the timeline song, trying the hand motions. So the hand motions for this week are first, Jesus the Messiah. So we will tap the center of our hands, signifying the nails that went into his hands like this. So Jesus, and then we're going to make an M. So we're going to put our thumb under our other 3 fingers and make a sash. So Jesus the Messiah. So for Pentecost in the early church, we're going to touch our lips and then make fire. So Pentecost and the early church, and then we're going to make a fist and make a C above that. So Pentecost and the early church. And then persecution, we're going to punch the air like that, and then spreads the gospel. We're going to make a G and then spread the gospel or the Bible like that. And then Herod's temple destroyed, we're going to make an H, and then we're going to put our thumb right in between our pointer finger and middle finger to make a T for temple and put it on our fist. So Herod's temple, and then destroyed, we start with our hands apart, bring them together, and then apart again. So Herod's temple destroyed by Titus, and you can make another T if you want, by Titus. And then Diocletian, like we just did, so we have our D, Diocletian divides, and then the Roman Empire. And then we've got Constantine legalizes Christianity, so I'm going to do my symbol just like with Jesus the Messiah. And then India's Gupta dynasty, we're going to put our finger on our forehead and then make that motion and go from our ear like this. So India's Gupta dynasty. All right, so I'll do them to the tune so you can see how it goes. Jesus the Messiah. Pentecost and the early church. Persecution spreads the gospel. Herod's temple destroyed by Titus. Diocletian divides the Roman Empire. Constantine legalizes Christianity. India's Gupta dynasty. So that is timeline this week. For math this week, we are skip counting the 13s. And so what I will do is I'm going to give each kid a fun action card. If you've watched my other videos, you've heard me talk about these, but if you haven't, you can download these for free from my blog. I will link below where you can get them, and they're just a great resource to use as a tutor or at home too. So we've got like knee raises, squats, slither like a snake, and twirl, and you can just kind of pick out the ones you think would work for this. So first, I'm going to have a volunteer tell me one of the 13s to circle on my tutor board. So for example, maybe 104. So 13 times 8 is 104. I'll circle that 104, and then we'll all stand up, and we will do our first action. So maybe one of the kids has clap hands. So when we see the 104 and when we say it, we're going to clap our hands just for that one. So everybody stand up, and then we will sing the song. So it goes like this. 13, 26, 39, 52, 65, 78, 91, 104, 117, 130, 143, 156, 169, 182, 195. So then I will ask for another kid's action. So maybe we've got spin in a circle. The best actions for this are just kind of like ones where we don't, move around too much, but we're still doing an action. So now I'll have another volunteer tell me 2 more 13s to circle. I'll keep the 104 circled, but maybe now I circle the 13 and the 195. So then we'll sing through them again, and anytime we see a circled number, we will do our action. We'll spin in a circle. Then we'll do another kid's action, so say reach for the sky. So I'll have another kid tell me 3 more 13s to circle. So I'm going up, 1 each time. So they'll tell me 3 more to circle. So now we have, how many? I think 6 circled. So anytime we see a circled one, we're now going to reach for the sky when we sing that one. And then you'll get to the point where all of them are circled, and then whatever motion you do, maybe like hop, you're hopping as you sing every single one. So just another twist on using action cards. You could just sing them all through, doing the different actions every time, like hopping the whole time or high knees the whole time. Or you could just jump every time you have a circled number 2, just to keep it simple. But that is math. For history this week, we are learning about the Protestant Reformation. And so I'm going to do silly words again because my kids love it, and it just really helps them learn the history sentence. So I'm a big fan, and it's pretty easy. So what I will do first is just sing the history sentence normally for the kids. So it goes like this. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation by printing the 95 Theses that made Pope Leo X excommunicate, and later John Calvin joined the Reformation, and this is how it all began. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation. So then after we sing it normally together, I'll tell them, okay, I want you to listen really carefully, and every time I say a silly word, you gotta raise your hand and tell me what the word should be. All right, so I start out like this. In 1517, Martin Burger beat Burger? No, what should it be? Oh, Luther. Martin Luther. Okay, so then I go back to the beginning and sing it normally until the next silly word. So, in 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant refrigerator. Refrigerator? No, what should it be? Oh, Reformation. Okay, So then again, I go back to the beginning and sing it normally until the next silly word. So they're hearing it normally a lot of times. So the silly words I use are burger instead of Luther, refrigerator instead of Reformation, and then instead of 95 theses, I use 95 pizzas. And then instead of Pope Leo X, I use Pope Lego X. And then instead of John Calvin, I use John Cabbage. And then instead of joined the Reformation, I say joined the dance party. So you could just make words up on the fly. I like to kind of know them ahead of time because I do better that way. But you can use those words or use different words. The kids love it. It makes them laugh, and then it makes it memorable. Then after we do the silly words, we'll sing the history song normally together, and I'll pass out a little mini guitar to each kid. I got these from the dollar store. They're great. It's just a good song for them to strum their guitars and sing it normally a couple times. And that is history. For science this week, we are learning about 6 forms of pollution. So first, I will show the kids up on my tutor board the 6 forms and a little picture that I'll draw next to each one to give them a visual. And then I'm going to teach them a song to the tune Jack and Jill, which I'll sing for you in a minute. Also, I'm going to show them some hand motions that we're going to do as we sing that will help us kind of connect what each of these forms of pollution means. So the first one, noise pollution, we'll put our hands over our ears and just kind of scrunch our face like it's loud. And then air pollution, we'll kind of wave the air like this, like the air is dirty. And then water pollution, we'll just make water motion with our hands. Thermal pollution, we'll brush off our forehead like it's hot. And then radioactive pollution, we're going to cross our arms like danger, X, danger, we don't want to get too close. And the land pollution, we'll pretend to like toss a piece of trash on the ground. All right, so now I'll sing the song for you with the hand motion so you can see. So it goes like this. What are 6 forms of pollution? Noise, air, and water, land and thermal, then there's radioactive. So we'll sing that a couple times. Again, it goes like this. What are 6 forms of pollution? Noise, air, and water, land and thermal, then there's radioactive. Then we'll sit in a circle, and I have this dice again with some printables of each form of pollution. I have these linked to my blog post. I also have a new dice linked because this one I believe is out of stock. And so these printables work in the new dice I linked too if you want to use it. For sure you could use the free printables. So what I like to do is have the kids sit in a circle on the floor, and then we take turns rolling the die and then seeing what type of pollution we land on, and then we do the motion for that. So radioactive, we all do danger. And I have one form where it has the names of the pollution on them, and then I also have another page attached in my blog below with no names if you want to make it a little bit more challenging. Again, each kid gets a turn rolling the die, and we do the hand motion, and then you can practice the song after that a couple more times, and that is science. For Latin this week, we are learning the first conjugation endings perfect tense. And so first I will sing them for the kids. So it goes like this. E isti it, emis istis errant, first conjugation perfect tense. And then I will have us sit in a circle, and I have my puppet here. You can use any puppet. Kids love puppets. And we will play Duck, Duck, Goose, sort of, but with our puppet. So I will go first and just tap on each kid's head gently, and as we say each noun ending. So, E isti it, emis istis errant, first conjugation, perfect tense. And then whoever's head I tapped on last, they will get to now hold the puppet and do it. And I will encourage everybody to sing as we're doing it, especially the kid with the puppet. And I'll just make sure every kid gets a turn, but this is really fun and just a good way to repeat that Latin several times. So that is Latin this week. For review this week, we are going to play a game called Snowball. So this is very similar to the Stinky Feet game. If you played that, I have a couple other games like that if you've watched my videos from last year. But this is just a winter-themed version. So I have this for free to download if you want to use it. Super fun. The kids in my group just loved playing these games last year, and so far this year we played Stinky Feet and they loved that. So very similar. So basically you just tape this up on the wall, and then I have cards. So they're little snowflakes, and on the back of them are point values. So you're going to tape up the snowflakes so just the snowflakes show and not the point values all around the snowball sign, as you can see in my picture. And some of the snowflakes have negative values on them. They're called snowballs. So basically what the kids are going to do, you divide the kids into 2 teams, just like Stinky Feet, and then you ask a review question from the past few weeks, and whoever can answer it, they get to come and pull a snowflake off the wall, but they don't know the point value behind it. And then we turn it around, and if it's a snowball, they get a negative value, and this would be a good time to have a parent come help and keep score for the 2 teams on a whiteboard or a piece of paper. So they get their negative value, they go sit back down, you ask another review question, another kid comes up and turns it over, 20 points, so they get 20 points for their team. And then at the end of the game, you can total the points, and the winner could be the team with the least amount of points or the most amount of points. You could, throw them for a loop if you want. Just a fun winter-themed review game that you can use for the next few weeks if you want. And again, you can download it for free from my blog. I will link below where you can get it. Since we're on week 7, I also want to talk to you about the tin whistle. So I have this fun little bag for mine. I will link below where I got it, but it's from Etsy. And I also have this free tin whistle resource booklet you can print and use. It has ideas and resources that you can print out and use with your tutor class and at home for all 6 weeks of tin whistle. So just a really great resource. Our first week, what it has is the parts of the tin whistle. So I have lesson plans or ideas for lesson plans for each week, and then you can go back to different appendices and they have worksheets or flashcards, things like that, different activities. So the first week we learn about the parts of the tin whistle, and so I have a fun little song to go along with that. I also have these cute tin whistle beds that you can have the kids decorate, and this is a spot that their tin whistle stays down when they're not playing it. So especially with younger kids, they just want to blow on it and do all kinds of things. So you can make a big deal at the beginning that the tin whistle needs to be on its bed all the time unless you say it's time to play it. So I will link my tin whistle video below. I highly recommend watching it. I have a lot of tips, things I've learned in my experience of being a tutor that really help with these next 6 weeks of doing the tin whistle. So I will leave it at that here, but check out that video for a fun song that goes over the parts of the tin whistle and just a lot more helpful information. These beds would be a good thing to have the kids color during review time or, maybe during a snack break, something like that. As I said earlier, I want to show you the free games that you can use at home with your kids this week to help them practice the memory work. So this one I'm really excited about. It's called Pollution Sequence. So it has lots of different images of the different kinds of pollution that we learned about this week. And you can just print this game board. I have an option where it has the names of the types of pollution and an option where it just has the images, no names. So you can decide how hard you want it to be. Then you can print off these little pollution cards. So I have 2 kinds. I have some cards that say, radioactive pollution, or I have a set of cards where this actually says nuclear power plants. So you can use the ones that say the type of pollution, or you can use the ones that say what's actually going on in the picture, just depending on the age kids you're playing it with, or you could print both and use both, either way. It's just fun sometimes to know what is actually going on in this picture. It looks like, thermal pollution, but what is this exactly? Oh, it's factories. So basically a player draws a card and then puts a little marker from a different game, or you can use paper or whatever, something to mark the board on one of the thermal spots that matches the card. And the goal is to get 5 in a row in any direction. There are also special cards that have recycling on them and cleaning up the trash that have different things. You can remove somebody's token, or you could put a token anywhere on the board. So just a fun way to talk about pollution with your kids as you're playing a game. And if you've watched my other videos, I've talked about this game before, but my Latin bingo game reviews all the Latin for all of Cycle 2. There are multiple bingo boards and calling cards, so a really fun way to review the Latin. Also, like I talked about before, those pronoun memory cards are a great way to review the English for the next few weeks. So I will link below in the description where you can grab those games, and I hope you enjoy them. If you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I am posting at least one video per week relating to tutor ideas, homeschool, just general encouragement and ideas, sometimes things about healthy recipes we're making because we're passionate about that at our house. Also check out my Instagram where I like to post what we do homeschool-wise throughout the week and just sometimes some spontaneous resources I end up making and want to share. Also check out my blog where I have my shop with homeschool resources and my resource library with lots of free resources and just lots of blog posts about different homeschooling topics and tutor ideas. So thank you so much again for watching and have a great day.